Good morning, everybody. We will get started here. So good morning and welcome to our United Way Coffee Chat series. I'm Janine Joy. I'm the president and CEO of our United Way. Today, we're going to be talking about VITA, which is our Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program during our coffee chat. I love this program because it is so straightforward, easy to understand, and the impact is incredible and it is so measurable. It is just, it's really easy to explain, but our volunteers are the ones you'll find out that are doing the really hard part in the background. And we will make sure that you get out of here on time. These are short informational meetings, so you just know more about the programs that we are doing here at United Way and then can share that information with others. So with that in mind, I am going to introduce Mary Metter, who is our VITA Program Manager, and she is going to explain a little bit more about our VITA program. Mary?
Good morning. My name is Mary Metter. I work in the United Way Volunteer Center. I am a VITA Program Manager along with Patrice Cunningham. I have been an employee with United Way for 3 years, but a VITA volunteer for 12 of the last 13 years, and this is absolutely the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. I love VITA, and if you talk to anybody, they'll tell you I love VITA. Probably should be my middle name. One of the goals, as you know, for United Way is to create strong communities and to improve the quality of lives of everyone living in that community. One way we do that is through the VITA program. The VITA program helps individuals and families. Well, let me explain what VITA stands for first, sorry. Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. Oh, let me advance, there we go. So VITA is a partnership between our United Way and the IRS. This is a nationwide program, but our United Way partners with the IRS to bring this program to the community. We do no-cost tax preparation for families who make less than $66,000 a year. And I've had some people tell me $66,000 is a lot of money. It is if you're a one-person family, but if you're a family of 3 or 4, 66,000 just doesn't go far. This is also a volunteer-driven program. Everyone from the greeter who meets you at the door when you come in, to the tax preparer, the person that runs the site, the interpreters, all volunteers. It's a totally volunteer-driven program. The program's been around for 52 years nationwide, but our United Way took it over in 2008, preparing 2007 tax returns for the first time. The VITA program's focus is to ensure that the lower income working families get not only complete and accurate returns, but also get all the credits that they're entitled to, especially the earned income tax credit, which was designed to boost low income working families out of poverty. This credit, a lot of people don't realize they're entitled to it because if they don't make a lot of money, they think they don't need to file a tax return, which is absolutely true. If your income is low enough, you don't have to file a tax return. But there's these credits like earned income tax credit, child tax credit that could benefit these low income working families and really give them that boost they need to kind of move them up out of the welfare system. Other credits, like I said, the child tax credit, dependent care credits, there's education credits. People just leave this money on the table. Millions of dollars just don't get refunded to clients because they just don't realize they're entitled to these. And so our main focus is to help these families. We'll do seniors, we'll do people who don't qualify for the EITC, but that is our main focus. And of course, doing accurate returns and making sure they get all the refunds that they're entitled to. Oops. Speaking of volunteers, not only do we try to get our clients the most refunds possible, but we want to save their hardworking dollars as well. Tax preparation fees, if done at a private site, can be anywhere from $75 is what they get you in the door with, but then they charge you for every fee while you're there, every form, every person on your return. I've had clients come to me who've had to spend $300, $400, $500, who've had nothing more than 2 kids, 2 adults, and 2 W-2s. We don't want our clients who need their hard-earned dollars, or anybody really, to be spending that money getting their taxes done when they could be using it for rent, food, utilities, groceries, medical bills, and things just that go on and on. Filing taxes should not be a financial burden on families once a year. And a lot of people stress about this, having to get their taxes done and having to pay that money out. And that's why we're here. And while they're at our site, we also try to encourage them to save money while they're there. put some of that refund aside into a savings account for, an emergency. Maybe their car will break down, maybe they need it just to build that emergency slush fund. I try to encourage people who get really large refunds to put at least $1,200 away, because that way they have an extra $100 a month they can pull from to help them throughout the year. I mentioned before that this program is run off volunteers, and even with COVID, the amount of volunteers that we had this last tax season was just, I find, incredible. The year before we had 194 volunteers, and with the shutdown of COVID, we did, some of them were hesitant, and that's absolutely fine and understandable. When we started this tax year, about 90 something of them returned, plus 50 new ones. So we had 147 volunteers this last tax season who were just dedicated and really wanted to help make a difference and help those families. With COVID, we did have to alter our preparation services this year. It wasn't just that we did have the traditional face-to-face, of course, with social distancing, big plastic masks, everyone wearing masks, sanitizing, hand sanitizer, and all that kind of stuff. But we also had a drive-through drop-off, which you'll see there in the picture. Rain or hot sun, we did have people outside collecting the information and having taxes done inside by volunteers who did not prefer that contact with clients. We also had a virtual site where everything was done online, so there was no contact. So we made accommodations, and we had volunteers who are willing to step up and help during this time. It's an amazing program. All of our volunteers, and we are volunteers, have to certify with the IRS every single year. We have to recertify. From the greeter who meets you at the door, the tax preparer, our interpreters, we have to take ethics and code of conduct tests. The tax preparers have to pass tax tests. But as volunteers, the IRS limits us onto what we're allowed to do. We're allowed to do basic returns, W-2s, 1099, self-employment, investments, dividends, interest. And self-employment, we can do self-employment with certain limitations. We don't do depreciation, we don't do rental income, and we don't do farm income. So we're allowed to do simple basic returns, which is what our clientele really needs. Our clientele don't have those complicated, difficult returns. So it's a really good fit. We do need interpreters. We have a lot of sites where there's not anybody who speaks Spanish, or maybe only one person. And we do have an increasing clientele that is a lot, some speak a little bit of English, but a lot of them don't speak any English. And we couldn't do this program without the help of all of our volunteers, who actually this last year put in 12,800 volunteer hours. So what an amazing team. And on this call, I have a very special volunteer. Her name is Carolyn Peplow. She's also the director of Lehigh Community Services. Carolyn, would you like to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Carolyn. I think I know almost everybody on the call, but I'm the executive director at Lehigh Community Services. I started here in 2015 in October. And so my first part of VITA was just seeing that first season from when it started in January, as I was a pretty new employee. I was extremely impressed with Mary and how she organized the volunteers. I got to know them all. And I thought, if the board will let me, this is something I want to do and be able to volunteer and do on the next tax season. So the next tax season rolled around, and I went ahead and certified to be a tax preparer. Did that for my first year, and the second year rolled around, and it's like, okay, I want to be more involved. So I went ahead and did the stuff to be a site coordinator. So really my philosophy at that point was Mary needs at least one night off in Lehigh. So let me be a coordinator one night and give her a night off. And that I did that for 2 years. And then this last year, we went to a really great system of having several co-coordinators. So we had like 4 of us certified as site coordinators here, so that every single day there was at least 1 or 2 site coordinators actually on site while we did the taxes. So that was an awesome thing too, because it took the pressure off of everybody. One of the things that's impressed me about VITA in Lehigh is, so those first couple of years, it was like, we want to get to $1 million in returns. We want to get to $1 million. And Lehigh's site has done that now for like 6 years straight in a row. But in the 2019 tax return season, we hit 1.5. And we were like, oh, we're going to get 1.5. But this last year, even with less volunteers, we hit that 2 million mark and did 1,358 taxes at our site. So just crazy. COVID, of course, was crazy. We actually have about 7 stations in our office for tax preparers where we can handle 7 tax preparers at a time. COVID, with some of the remodeling of space, we went down to being able to handle 5 at a time. But with that, we're doing 6 days a week in Lehigh, with one day being the VITA Valet, where they drop their taxes off and do them that way, and then volunteers. But me as a volunteer, every year I seem to want to do more. This year, I'm helping with the Get Your Refund site and doing tax returns on that. I think I've done 16 reviews for tax returns just on that site, where most of those tax returns are people that just still haven't got their stimulus money and wanting to file, normally wouldn't have to file, but that's the only way they can get their stimulus money. And then I've already told Mary this year, I want to jump into VITA Valet and do some of those taxes on my own time too, to help with the whole virtual part of it. Volunteer wise, we have awesome volunteers, but my little story, and it just happened in the last tax year, I had a gentleman come in and get his taxes done, and he thought it was just the greatest thing. So then the next week they called and made an appointment for his ex-wife. And the next week they called and made an appointment for their daughter. So, and they kept telling me they wanted me to do their taxes. So I did. And now, the lady's name is Sue. She has become a permanent volunteer here at Lehigh Community Services. She works every week in our pantry, loves the pantry. And I think I'm trying to talk her into being a greeter for us for VITA also. So that's my story. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for sharing, Carolyn. And I will see you tonight because we have taxes tonight, actually. We do have volunteers who are a little nervous at first. And one thing we tell them is every return gets looked at by 2 sets of eyes. So it doesn't matter who does the tax return. The IRS requires that every tax return does get checked by 2 sets of eyes because we are human. And so they want to make sure that the returns are accurate. So even if I've been here 12 years, Carolyn will double check my work. I'll double check her work. And it's how we have such a high rate of accuracy in this VITA program. It's not just our sites, it's nationwide. The IRS, because this is an IRS program, comes out and audits the VITA sites randomly. Some are scheduled and a lot of them mostly are random. Nationwide, there's a 96% accuracy rate with the VITA program, which is a lot more than all the paid preparers. And we had several audits at our sites this last year and we scored 100%. So go our team. We are located, last year, the green dots is where people were able to find us last year. That is a lot of tax sites that we ran. We were also online. We had a 100% virtual option as well. The little red dot on your screen is a site that we had last year, but will not be here this year. The purple dots are proposed new sites. And you can notice way off to the right, there's one out there in Moorhaven. So we're trying to get a site started in Moorhaven this year. So I'm really excited about that. Yesterday I was out, or the day before I was out, scoping the area, trying to find some good locations, meeting some people. So I'm really excited about that. And it's not just volunteers that make this program such a success, it's all of our partners. They're all listed there. I'm not going to read them all, but some of these partners, you know, a lot of them, most or all of them basically share the word, spread the word about VITA, let people know that we're here. Some provide spaces for us to do taxes in. Some provide funding, a lot of them provide volunteers or supplies. So without all these partner agencies, we just couldn't get this done. So what was our impact last year? Last year, like I said, we had 147 volunteers. We processed at the close of tax season this year, 6,659 tax returns, 12,800 hours in volunteer hours. That came to $9.7 million in refunds, $2 million in preparation fees saved, money that people didn't have to spend to have their taxes done. And the value of those volunteer hours was $300,000. That's a $12 million impact on our community. A huge impact, like Janine was saying. So how can you help? Why are we sharing this with you? Because first of all, we'd love for you to volunteer. Love, love, love it. And we know not everybody can or is interested in volunteering with taxes, but maybe you know someone who would be interested. And also, just so you know, you don't have to have any experience. I was in retail when I heard about the VITA program. I never had any accounting or financial background whatsoever. I just thought it'd be fun to do. It looks great on a resume. You build a lot of customer service skills. It's fun. Oh my God, it's so rewarding. But you could also help spread the word. Not only tell your family, your friends, your coworkers about this, your clients, if you're a business, but we have ways to help spread that word. We have electronic media and flyers that we could share with you. We have print rack cards. We have payroll stuffers that you can share with other people. So we'll help you get the word out. And I do have a couple little stories I'd like to share if we have time. We do have a few minutes. So there's one couple that really sticks to my mind that this program had a huge impact on. They were an upper middle-aged couple that came in. They fill out an intake form with us. It was their first time with us, and they have to basically fill out all their demographic information so we can get started. And while I was doing their return and talking to them, I realized that their adult daughter had moved back home and had brought her son in with them, and that the son was completely paralyzed. And they didn't list them on the form. And I said, well, why didn't you put them on the form? And they said, well, she's over 18. I didn't think we could. And so after talking to them, I realized they totally supported these two people. And I said, you could put them on your tax return. So I put them on the tax return, and they did have some earned income, and that jumped their earned income tax credit up drastically because they went from a family of 2 to a family of 4. And then I amended their previous year's tax return as well. And they both started crying. And I was watching them and like, why are you crying? And they said now they would be able to remodel their bathroom because the son's wheelchair couldn't fit into the bathroom. They were never able to give him a proper bath. So they were so, so thankful and happy. We had a client, Benita, who was also very thankful when she got her tax return done because her son's dental or teeth needed a lot of work. He was getting bullied in school every single day. And with her tax refund, she was able to get the work done. And I do have other stories. And I do want to tell you, not everybody gets a refund. This is the real world. Some people don't because maybe they don't have enough withholdings or they're self-employed. But whatever the reason, we explain to them why they owe money and what they can do to prevent it for the next year. I've had clients who left me owing a lot of money, and they wrote me thank you notes. I won't tell you how much the highest one was. It was pretty out there. But they write me thank you notes because they're so appreciative that someone took the time to go over the information with them and to kind of educate them. And, overall, taxes are very stressful. I can't tell you how many clients I talk to on the phone, just making their appointment or getting a letter from the IRS, or they're coming in to have their taxes done. And the anxiety on them is just, it's so sad. And they're just so stressed because everybody knows the IRS can get you. Nobody got Al Capone but the IRS. And they're just so terrified of making a mistake, having something done wrong, throwing all these tax law changes, and people who used to do their taxes on their own don't even feel comfortable with it anymore. So they are so thankful they have places like us to go to, friendly, welcoming volunteers. We're not there to make money off of them. We're there to help them. And they really appreciate that. And that's all I have. Patrice or Janine?
Mary, thank you so much. And just to kind of recap, so VITA is a volunteer-driven program run through United Way in partnership with the IRS. And, we're able to prepare income taxes for these working families out there, for anyone really in households of $66,000 or less a year, immediately saving, these residents the money that they would normally put towards getting their taxes prepared. A $12 million impact on our community is absolutely phenomenal. And I commend all the volunteers because to be trained like that. Patrice is our Vice President of the Volunteer Center. Patrice, did you want to share anything?
Just want to add that for anyone who's interested in volunteering, we do have a robust training program. As you can see, Mary's very passionate. We have video training, we have online training, we have in-person training. We recruit all year round, as we have sites that are, we do have 4 sites that are open year round. So if you have clients or staff who received a letter, or they still haven't filed, believe it or not, we have folks who have a few years who we file and can go back a few years as well. So if anyone has any questions, comments, I know Jim's online, he's a volunteer with us. If he wants to share at all, please do. But if you have any questions, let us know. We can answer those for you.
Hi, this is Antoinette, Providence Family Life Center. Thank you so much, Mary, and everyone for the work you do. VITA is awesome, and I'm sure we'll have some clients to refer. Just a real quick question. You had mentioned the stimulus checks, and I know that, obviously it's an IRS program, but is there any support for individuals with the VITA program that are looking to get the stimulus check? I know that there are lots of, information flyers, pieces and parts flown around that's, giving people information on how to do this. But oftentimes our clients lack, the competency to, to be able to follow up on those stimulus payments. And so I was just wondering, Mary, if there is any kind of resource available or support for those who may need assistance with the stimulus.
Absolutely. So if a client hasn't gotten their first or second stimulus, we need to file their 2020 tax return. Oh, sorry. Am I muted? No.
Thank you.
So for clients who have not gotten the first or second stimulus checks, the only way to get those now is to file a 2020 tax return. And if they filed and didn't note that they didn't get it on that tax return, we can amend it. Once the 2020 tax return is processed, usually it kicks out the third stimulus. The third stimulus is actually part of the 2021 tax return. So anybody who's not getting that for whatever reason could get it on their 2021 tax return. Then there's also the advanced child tax credit. So there is a portal, a couple different portals, one the IRS put out and one that Get CTC put out to try to help with that situation. But please email me so we can, because each case is a little different. One might need to do 2020, one might need to use the portal. So I don't mind talking to them. I talk to people all the time and help them with this. So share my information, call me, contact me, but it is still possible to get those.
Okay. We work with also a lot of clients that have Social Security income. And so that's a huge population as it relates to this stimulus payment, with lots of questions. And by experience, it's very difficult to get through the IRS, and especially if you have a minute phone where you only get limited minutes, and then you have to be on phone and use all your minutes waiting to talk to someone. So thank you, Mary. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, we have tons of clients in that situation. So I'll be glad to reach out to me. I'd be glad to help you with that.
Yes, and then just so you know, 211 is our hotline for people to make appointments, or if they have questions, and they will refer them to us. So if for any reason they can't get through, if they call 211 and ask and have a VITA or tax question, they will go to our team.
Great, thank you.
Right, and so that's an important number to remember. Dialing 211, of course, connects you to our information and referral specialists, who can not only get you over to the VITA experts within our organization, but they can also help make appointments for those taxes as well. So they know the sites that are open, and then people can also visit our website at unitedwaylee.org. And when you go on there, you can also find out more information about VITA and the links for appointments and things like that as well. Do we have any other questions or anything? No? All right. I want to thank you all for your time this morning and learning more about our VITA program. Please, if you are thinking of somebody in your mind right now, like, gosh, this would be great for them, please make sure you share that information. Tell them about 211, tell them about our website. Make sure they get connected so next year they can enjoy the benefits of this program, and make sure that the experts who are volunteers are working hard to put more dollars right back into their pockets when at all possible. So thank you again for your time this morning, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.